Hello, dear students. Welcome to the online lecture for English Literature students of BA Part 2. In this lecture, we are going to explain the poem The Word is Too Much with Us by William Wordsworth, that is prescribed in your syllabus. So, first of all, we will have a quick look about William Wordsworth. William Wordsworth was born in 1770 and died in 1850. He is one of the leading figures of the Romantic movement. Left an orphan at 13, Wordsworth was brought up by an uncle. He started his career as a poet in 1793. It was a publication of lyrical ballads in 1798 which finally heralded Romanticism, means which finally begin the era of Romanticism. Not only did the poems express a new attitude to nature but also a new faith in man. The poems, a collaborative venture by Wordsworth and Coleridge. So this was the poem, the publication, the lyrical ballads in 1798 was a common venture by Wordsworth and Coleridge. Used language and meter differently from the manner it had been handled by most of the 18th century poets. This poem, The Word is Too Much with Us, is a sonnet. Now, as you know that sonnet is a poem of 14 lines. The challenge of writing a sonnet lies in the fact that it has to be written in the limited number of lines and prescribed metrical pattern. The idea has to be introduced, developed, and concluded within this limit. Sonnets are ordinarily of two kinds, the Petrarchan and Shakespearean. The Petrarchan sonnet is also known as the Italian sonnet, means you can say it whether Petrarchan sonnet or Italian sonnet. These two are same. It has two main parts, the octave and the sestet, respectively consisting of 8 and 6 lines, means the octave part is of 8 lines and the sestet part is of 6 lines. The Shakespearean sonnet, also known as the English sonnet, has 3 stanzas of 4 lines each and a concluding couplet. The meter is iambic pentameter. So in this poem, the word is too much with us. In this poem, the poet criticizes the word of first industrial revolution for being absorbed in materialism and distancing itself from nature. The poem was first published in poems in 2 volumes in 1807. So let's begin the poem. As you can see on your screen, I am going to read the opening lines. The word is too much with us, late and soon. Getting and spending, we lay waste our powers. The poet is saying that in this materialistic world, we are obsessed with the materialistic word late and soon, and this materialistic word is too much with us, means we are too indulged in this materialistic word. We spend our time in getting and spending, we lay waste our powers, means all our power we lay waste in getting some things or spending some our time and money and our power on some wasteful on some mortal things. Little we see in nature that is ours. And in line number 3, the poet is saying that little we see in nature that is ours, means the nature is ours but we see little things in nature. Little means it refers to the negation form, and the poet is saying that hardly we see uh, the beauty of nature. We have given our hearts away a sordid boon. Sordid means unworthy. We have given our hearts away a sordid boon. The poet is saying that this is a very unworthy boon for us. This here refers to the materialistic world and the industrial revolution. The poet is saying that we have given our hearts away. This is a very unworthy boon for us. Now in line number 5, the poet is explaining, or the poet is creating an image. He is saying that this sea that bears her bosom to the moon, the winds that will be howling at all hours. The poet is capturing a image between among us, and he is saying before us, and see, he is saying that this sea that bears her bosom to the moon. You can see what the beauty lies in these lines. He is explaining, he is mentioning the beauty of the nature, the beauty of sea that is laying and that is bearing her bosom to the moon, the winds that will be howling at all hours. The poet is again describing the beauty of the winds, that the wind will be howling at all hours. The wind is howling at all hours means always the wind is howling, and are up gathered now like sleeping flowers. But in this line, the poet is comparing ourselves to the sleeping flowers. He is saying that although the sea is showing us his beauty, the winds are howling at full speed or showing their beauty, but we are like sleeping flowers. We have no emotions about these beautiful objects of the nature. For this, for everything we are out of tune. The poet is saying that for this beautiful nature and for these every moments of the nature we are out of tune, means we are out of any type of sensational activities. It moves us not. In next line he is saying that it moves us not, means these beautiful objects of the nature have no impression on us. Great God, I would rather be a pagan, suckled in a creed outworn. Now the poet is the poet is praying to God that I would rather be a pagan. Means, apart from being a man, I would likely to be a pagan. Pagan means nature worshipper or a believer in a polytheistic religion. Means the worshipper who always worship nature. So the poet is wishing that I would rather be a pagan, suckled in a creed outworn. I would like to be a pagan that will follow an outdated creed and outdated religion. So might I, standing on this pleasant lea, have glimpses that would make me less forlorn. Forlorn means solitude, or we can say akelapan. So the poet is saying, so might I, standing on this pleasantly, have glimpses that would make me less forlorn. The poet is wishing that when I would be a pagan, I will feel less forlorn, and I will have sight of Proteus rising from the sea. Proteus, in next line he is using the Greek mythological god Proteus, the sea god. Proteus was a sea god in Greek mythology. Or hear old Triton blow his wreathed horn. In last line, the word is here used Triton. Triton was a type of a creature, the upper part of the body having a human form and the lower that of a fish, like a mermaid. So Triton is like a mermaid in Greek mythology. Triton is the son of Poseidon and Amphitrite. So the poet is giving us an image that if I would be a pagan, I would feel less forlorn, less solitude, and I will have the sight of Proteus rising from the sea. I will see the sight when the sea god be out of the sea, and I can also hear the old Triton, the old Triton god who has the upper part of the body having a human form and the lower that of a fish. So the poet is wishing that if he would be a pagan, he would able to see the glimpses of Proteus rising from the sea, and he would able to hear the old Triton blow his wreathed horn. So in this poem, if we want to criticize this point, if we want to write critical comments, we will write, first of all, we will write that this poem has metaphor. In the line number 4, we have given our hearts away, a sordid boon. So in this line, the poet is using an oxymoron. Second thing is, in critical comment we can say, write the second thing is, it is in sonnet form, that I have told you earlier in the starting of the video. And third thing is that this poem is using repetition and rhyming scheme. Repetition, like in line number 2, getting and spending, late or late and soon, these are repetitive words. And the rhyming scheme of the poem, of this poem, is ABBA ABBA. The fourth point of critical comment is music and harmony. You can see in line, for this, for everything, we are out of tune. In this line, in the sustain part of the line, the poet is using music and harmony in this line. For this, for everything, for we are out of tune. The fifth point of critical comment is collective pronoun. The poet is using collective pronoun in this poem, like at many places he used the collective pronoun we and us in this poem. Last point of critical comment is imagery. In this line, in this poem, the poet is using many images, like of the sea, of the wind, of Proteus coming out of the sea, and of Triton blowing his wreathed horn. But most important imagery is we and are up gathered now like sleeping flower. So this is a capturing imagery used in this poem in line number 7, and are up gathered now like sleeping flowers. The poet is comparing the human nature with the sleeping flowers. So this poem is totally about the materialistic world and the nature of man, that he is distancing himself from nature. The poet is criticizing this type of behavior, and he is totally against the first industrial revolution. So that's all for today. In our next class, we will take up a new poem to be explained. Thank you very much, all.